Welcome back. We got another special episode live. Special guest, the Natural Guys Company. We are here going live, and this is the G podcast where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and everything else. This is the G podcast, and we got the Natural Guys Company. Let's get right to it.
It doesn't matter how you feel. No talk back. You see the break up?
Yes, indeed. Welcome. Greatly appreciate y'all for joining. In case you didn't hear it the first time, this is the G podcast where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and everything else. This is the G pod, and we got very special guests on. Thank you so much for joining the Natural Guys Company once again.
Thank you.
So we're going to have a great conversation. It's going to go a couple different places. Can we just introduce ourselves to the audience first before we get started? If ladies first, of course. Devine, if you don't mind just introducing who you are to the audience, please.
Of course, I would love to. My name is Devine, and I am a holistic teacher and a certified life coach. As an accolade, internal seeker, forever student. I am an 80s baby, raised in the 90s, so I'm a part of the golden era, hip-hop, glow and glory, and education and truth over rhyme, I would like to say. And I'm here with my amazing, beautiful spirited husband here.
Okay. Thank you for that lovely intro. And you said beautiful spirited husband, which is...
Yeah, she said that so well, man. For those who know me in the States, I'm Keandre, but as of now, I go by I am Benjamin. And we can go into how I changed all of that later on. I'm also a natural born seeker. I am a world learner. I believe that true learning comes from just, simply observing the world and the universe. I'm also accompanied by my lovely, beautiful wife and soulmate that I've found for so many years of also seeking just someone as a companion. Aside of that, I am the founder of the Natural Guys Company.
And I'm the co-founder.
As well as co-founder, yeah. That's pretty much all I can say at the moment.
Okay.
I also want to say that, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, man, this is definitely my first podcast. I'm very grateful. Very grateful to be here, man. Gratitude is definitely the highest form of love and highest form of expression. We are definitely grateful to have for you to have us on your platform, brother. So thank you.
Sure, absolutely, 100%.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
Greatly appreciate it. And of course, likewise, and I'll kind of get right to it. The common connection here was I met Devine, but we were at Winston-Salem State University at the time when we first crossed paths. So that's how we first got introduced. But what I remember upon meeting you, you were going by a different name as well.
I still do that. Yeah.
Okay. I knew you as Yashika. And then when we had a class together and it was a presentation class, and the reason why I've always sort of remembered who you are was because you did a presentation on how you got your name. Mm-hmm. And you tell me if I'm wrong here, but because Blacks are so creative. From what I remember, you got your name after, I believe it was like a camera or some sort of something like that, right?
Yes.
Can you enlighten us on how you got that name?
Depending on where you're at, accent-wise, you're going to get Yashika and Yashika, depending on where you're living at in the world. But my mother named me Yashika. She got that name from an ad, Japanese camera. It was the Yashika camera, and she just thought it was beautiful and what it represented, just the brand, and she changed the lettering, and there you have it. So thanks, Mom. I ain't mad, but as I evolved and became more like sociable and connected with like minds, it was that inner light that people always reflect back to me, beauty and divine and things of God and of nature. Divine just was that stuck with me over like at least now 12, 13 years.
Let's start from the beginning there. Like you said, your mom, where were you born?
Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Goldsboro, North Carolina. Shout out to Goldsboro, North Carolina, man. Shout out to Goldsboro. And so I gotta ask, a lot of folks in Goldsboro are affiliated with the Air Force because Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Any military influence as to why you were born in Goldsboro, or are you just a native born and raised there?
Yeah, definitely a native, no military influence from my immediate family. It was just one of those, my mother, she wasn't born in Goldsboro. She was born in New York. And my great-grandmother and great-grandfather were born in country skirts around Goldsboro. My grandmother was one of my great-grandmother's children to be moved to New York during a certain time. So she had my mother and her other children there, and they were back and forth from Goldsboro to upstate New York, and Goldsboro, upstate New York. And my mother had got pregnant with me while they were down in Goldsboro. So she made the decision to raise her child in Goldsboro. Looking at my life and the things now, my mindset, I ain't mad at her.
Okay, and Benjamin, what about you? Where were you born?
Actually, I was born in Kinston, North Carolina. But when I was 5 years old, we moved to Goldsboro also. And that's where I was raised from up until 5 years old, up until I decided to leave around 17, probably.
So born in Kinston, I don't want to assume, but I got to imagine you just got to be able to hoop if you were born in Kinston, the type of hoopers that come out of that city.
I ain't got no sports skills, man. I'm going to tell you.
Okay, word. Yeah,
I can assist
Kinston,
and I can shoot around a little bit, but if you expect me to play on a team, hey, bro.
Word. Like what was like, do you have memories of what life was like in Kinston before going to Goldsboro? Like what some of the differences or changes you had to adjust to as a young person?
Yeah, man, I can remember it was pretty rough because we were homeless for the earlier part of my growing up until one point. Like I know specifically right before we moved to Goldsboro, we were homeless. And then when we got to Goldsboro, we were living at the Salvation Army and battered women's shelters for a little bit, until we got to public housing and things like that. Shout out to my mom, Robin Jacobs. She did hold down her 3 boys by herself, through thick and thin. So, can't say it was the prettiest time, but she also made sure that we had everything that we needed, man. Always ate. We ate every night, man. Always had clothes, always had everything we needed. As a child, I really couldn't even complain. To be honest, I didn't even really notice it, so to speak.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm sorry to hear the circumstances that seemingly took you away from Kinston to Goldsboro. But like you said, shout out to your mom for being able to continue to push on through and raise you and your siblings. Goldsboro is not, even today, it's not necessarily considered a bigger city. What type of stuff did y'all do for fun growing up, each of you in Goldsboro?
Oh man, it was the funnest. It was most of the funnest time, man. Normal hide and seek. We was outside, children to the street light. Come on, type thing. So we was riding bikes. Just child stuff outside, but like not how it is these days, man. I remember we was just talking about today how we used Saturday morning cartoons, eating cereal, stuff like that. Just remembering the good old times.
What about you, Devine?
Pretty much the same for me too. It's definitely, like I said, for me it was a moment of just like joy and happiness growing up in that area, because it was a lot of resources there that was afforded to us, and we took advantage of them in the community. You had the sprinklers, my God, like we would look forward to
about those, yes.
Sprinklers came out, oh my goodness. And
the icy lady.
The icy lady, everybody that come through the hood, bikes, go out there and ride our bikes and things like that. Things that you kind of just don't see there anymore. It has faded away because of a lot of influence of dark entities, negative forces, negative music, gang violence, and a whole bunch of other stuff that it's a whole new place now.
Well, that is something that, because I relate to that growing up. I grew up outside as well. House key, soon as I wake up, we outside, and we gonna stay out until we literally gotta come back home, till it's as dark as possible. And in between, you're doing all types of stuff, getting into mischief, going places you ain't got no business going on your bike. But like the idea of, say, a parent letting their 10-year-old, 9-year-old just be outside like without any supervision, no cell phone, no way to get in contact, any of that stuff, and then just hope they make it home is like such a taboo thought. Like you spoke to why, like, what about those energies is it that has caused such a shift? Because you mentioned some things, but can you speak more to maybe why, from your perspective, it's not like it used to be?
Wow, it's a lot of things that go into it, from the age of girls getting pregnant, they get younger, and then the mothers are not as educated. So it's just like this really generational thing that happens, and it's not broken. So after a while, you just have this way of living that seems normal, and the music is a heavy influence. Come on, it's just a bunch of, now I have my moments of just being fun and laughter and joy, but when they say like listening to some of those lyrics and what's being said, and then a lot of what goes on behind the curtain and why they're saying that to get more and more programmed of more and more followers, this way of destruction of our kind in the community, this is why. Like a continuous like dark cycle. And from when I was growing, the music was, I said golden era. So golden era hip hop. So you had the positive messages inside the lyrics that we were already listening to. That's kind of like the really big difference, because we're kind of like doing this. We have to survive. We're living day to day. We're doing the same things, going to school, everyone taking your child to school. But there is some other things like music, I think, is the biggest factor in there.
I gotta agree that the influence that music had on, I just know on me personally, in terms of how I speak, how I dress, how I carry myself, how I present myself overall, music definitely raised me to some degree from a teenager into my early adulthood. So I would imagine that's the same for every generation. Like you said, like that music, that culture, it's embedded and it's a way to program. So we'll circle back to that, because that is such a,
man, it's heavy.
It's very heavy. It's very heavy. But before we get there, let me take a step back. So growing up in Goldsboro, like ideal, say, childhood, simple, safe. You could be outside, play with friends, didn't need much to have fun, just be outside with a bike. When did y'all actually meet in Goldsboro?
We never met in Goldsboro.
Man, we never met, literally, bro. And she literally lived 2 doors down from me in the hood. I never knew it. We never knew
2 doors, like, hold on, it's literally 2 doors separated.
No, I would say.
I know you had at least seen her through the blinds. Was like, who's that walking that way?
Okay, no, it was like 3 little houses, like in between us or something like that. Like literally in the same circle, man.
No, I'm sorry, but we saw, this is the funny part. We literally had like mutual friends. I would come outside. I wasn't like, I love being inside, especially like in high school when AOL came out, and I started figuring out all these chat rooms, and we could talk to all other people around the world. I'm going to stay on this computer. So outside during high school, I kind of won't, but I would go hang out with like one friend, and then she knew everybody around the hood. So I would always just hang out with her. Never, ever saw him one time. But I have a memory in high school because he played drums in the band. And I'm like, I've always loved music. I had this connection with the drum line since 2000. I just think Goldsboro High School just had the infamous reputation for their band since 2000, since I knew. We were just so hyped to go there. But that's where he played the drums. And I remember seeing him maybe one time. Can you believe it? Not spoke to each other at all, but it was all for a reason. Like, it was all for straight up purpose.
Yeah, it was definitely for a reason. Yeah.
Wow. Let me just get clarity on that. So that one time, what was the interaction like?
Definitely some eye contact, but it's real vague in my mind. It was definitely
like not even a conversation, or
no, bro. Like, it was definitely a vague memory. And then when we actually did meet, it was like, hold on, I know you from somewhere. Like,
it was
type
that
vibe,
moment,
you know.
It was that moment again. I remember very clear for me, because I was just, my eyes was like, I was just happy to be around, bopping around high school. And I saw him with this drumstick, and we paused because he had to come in. I had to go out, and that was it. I was also like, my junior year. So I had to know everybody. Yeah. I had to know everybody in the class because I was responsible for some things. So I had wanted to like get to know everybody. And he was so mysterious to me, very quiet and laid back as and I knew for a fact he was in the band. I knew for a fact. That was the only thing I knew about him.
So same high school. What about middle school?
Nah, it was different middle schools, but
okay, but same high school.
Yeah.
Same high school.
Okay. Shout out to Goldsboro High School. Okay. So cross paths. And this is like toward the end of high school when you cross paths. This is or this like toward the beginning where that moment happens.
It was more like the middle because he didn't even stay in the high school the whole time. He didn't even graduate with our class. It's more like the 10th, around the 10th grade. So it was just a split second. It's like, it was just one of those it was like a butterfly effect moment where it's a moment where I would never forget because he was impressionable like that. Very quiet, very laid back. Just his presence would make you be like, okay.
It was a slight glimpse of my future wife, and I didn't even know it. That's really what it was.
Yeah, foreshadowing, real life foreshadowing.
Something I've been asking for, longing for, seeking for, as a youngin', and not ready for it. Obviously, bro. You know how little dudes are, so I had to be ready for something like her, man. For someone like her, I'm sorry, someone like her.
Okay, and it was mentioned that you didn't graduate in the same class. So Benjamin, what was your high school experience?
My high school experience was just trying to get through. Like I said, I'm a world learner, man. Books and what they was teaching, I was already so far past that with understanding and understanding and overstanding. And then my studies, and it was like what they was teaching just really wasn't resonating. Like every other young black person or myself, like a young black male or whatever, we really don't have too many options outside of high school. So that was really my worry of what would I do outside of that haven or territory, like shelter or whatnot. So my high school experience was just getting by, but it was also a good experience also with just, I would say, music kept me out of a lot of things, kept my mind off of other stuff.
When you go through high school, what was next for you after Goldsboro High School?
The United States Army was next for me after I graduated.
And why the Army?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You was gonna say something, babe?
No, I was going to say, I really wanted to go to the military in high school. That was one of the things that after high school, you really put on a limited pathway. It's really college or military.
And it's in your face every day in a town like Goldsboro. It's such a heavy influence on what you see and what's available to you. Like that's a very realistic outcome because it's right there in your backyard and you see it every day.
I'm sorry. That was actually because I think about it now with school and going through, it was like I had no other choice but to choose the school versus military because at 17, my mother wasn't signing no papers for me to go to basic. No, she won't let me go, but
so Benjamin, why did you go right to the Army after high school?
Well, like I said, it really wasn't too many options for us. Like you guys also speculated, it was either scholastic or college. I obviously didn't have 10 bands or didn't even want to pay 10 bands a semester for just to get an education of something I can learn obviously myself. So I thought the military was a better option. And I can also travel the world because I love history. So I was like, so all the stuff that I saw in the history books, Paris is right there, London is right there. I also love fashion, art. So I'm like, man, I can be in London doing fashion and Paris doing art and da-da-da-da-da. The military, I was working with some recruiters during my high school career. I'm actually recruiting people to join the military, which was pretty fun also. So when I joined, they offered me a duty station in Germany. And that was my first duty station in the active duty portion of the military because realistically, I joined when I was 17. So I wasn't even of legal age. My mother had to sign a waiver.
Oh, wow.
So that I can join. Yeah. And I was also very ecstatic to go. I was very ecstatic to leave. The first portion of my military career, I was in the National Guard, where I spent 2 years. Actually, I spent a year. And during that time, I did 6 months on Border Patrol doing, Border Patrol, guarding the Mexican-U.S. border. And then
where on the border were you roughly?
I'm sorry?
Like where on the border was your experience?
Different locations. We were about 40 miles from the actual border. And then the nearest city from the border was actually like 40 miles from the border inside of Mexico. We were pretty far out, but we can see everything going on.
Were you like in like Texas or Arizona, New Mexico? Like what part?
You mean
roughly?
That location? Yeah, we was actually in Tucson, Arizona, man. Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm familiar with those checkpoints because
Yeah.
my wife was in the Foreign Service, and we lived in Nuevo Laredo for a little bit. She lived there for a couple years. I lived there for around maybe 8-9 months. And we would often travel to San Antonio, which was like 2.5 hours away. When you cross the Mexican border, there's always that next checkpoint you got to get through that's like 30, 40 miles up. You were kind of at like that next checkpoint before you really get into the States.
It's all these checkpoints. Yeah, we were kind of positioned farther back. That was also, man, the military was some of the best times and some of the worst times of my life, man. So I got stories for days. So, man, I'm
going to pause there and circle back because I can only imagine types of experiences you have. You didn't stay. So we'll get back to that. And then Devine, when you left high school, you said, looking back, you also were thinking about military, but ultimately, what did you end up doing right when you left Goldsboro High School?
Well, right when I left, I went to Campbell. I was at Campbell University for only a semester. And it was just my curiosity. My senior year, I was seeing where people were going. Mostly everybody was doing HBCU because that was encouraged. HBCU, you had alumni teaching at our school, so they were pushing Winston, pushing A&T, Elizabeth, all these different places, encouraging us to go to HBCUs. But I was very curious, and I'm a very person that I want to know. So I want to know what Campbell University was like. So I went there right after, and it was like, I don't even know what to say. It wasn't for me. At the end of the day, I had a really short time there, and it was so wild, crazy, fun experience, but it wasn't for me at that time. So went to Winston, applied to Winston, and got in. And for what was that? I can't even remember. 2005 freshman year.
Okay, and that was roughly around the time when we crossed paths. I don't want to make it too much about Winston-Salem State, but just can you describe your personal experience with the university? And I'm curious, would you encourage others to go as well?
It's a place, like it's kind of like a place of discovery. You go, you learn, you grow, and I would encourage, especially if you have like nothing on your plate. Like I would say for myself at 16, I was like, okay, I got to take the LSATs because I'm gonna apply to UNC, and I'm gonna do UNC for 4 years, and then I'm gonna do law school. At 14, 15, I was still in high school planning this. But at 14, 15, you just got like some children now you just don't know, but they just need that extra visuals and that stimulation, education at an institution to see different things, levels. Yes, I would. And my experience was dope. It was great. I partied, had that. And then I got to a point where I really got involved with what was going on campus. Because first I was just kind of going around campus. I had just no idea what was going on. I had to figure it out. I had personal stuff going on. I felt like myself as like a freshman, sophomore, I had like heavy financial duties to make my own money, to figure that out, which is why the whole entrepreneurship wheels was turning, because I'm just seeing so much going on in the world, but it was a safe place for me to figure it out. Like loans, whatever, pool plow. It was here in Germany. It's free university if you live here, if you're a citizen or whatever. So when I learning what was going on in other countries, I kept really turning my face up at the U.S. with certain things that were going on and how they treated people who live there. Yes, I would encourage my people, brown girls, boys, to go out there and figure some things out quickly.
I like the way you frame that. That is the people. Like I said, is college expensive? No question. And the value in which you get from it is questionable. But if you go there with the intent to explore and to take advantage of what's there and learn new things, like that exposure can open up new doors in your mind that would never have gotten unlocked if you didn't, like you said, see it first. So you could see it and hear other stories, other backgrounds. That was one of the things I liked about Winston, was just the diversity of Black folks on the campus. Like growing up in Durham, I just had a thought of what Black folks were. And then you go to a campus like Winston, you meet all types of different Black people from different backgrounds. And like more diverse than I thought. So I appreciated that sort of experience as well, being there.
Definitely. And even in my storyline with college it wasn't doing 4 years and then I obtained my degree either. It wasn't that. It was a bumpy road as well, because I'm just like Benjamin. Like, I'm really rebellious spirit. If it don't resonate, I don't care if everybody is doing it. I don't care if you're saying this is the right way to do it. I don't want to be led like a sheep herded and blindly. And not say that it wouldn't have been beneficial things in my life I could have benefited from or been a certain way, but I'm 100% grateful for how things went with that. But I did get my degree, like, been a couple of years later after, but I did get it.
Yeah, word up. So you went to Winston, Benjamin went the Army route. How did y'all end up crossing paths then as like adults? Like, what led to that moment?
Want me to take this one?
Well, let's just say at the point of the story in our life, right? So, because in our 20s, okay, even in the military, it could be partying bullshit too, just like in college. But we both were in our 20s doing this dance where we're like figuring it out. It feels good. I'm flying here and being in this state, this country, and I'm flying here and being in this state. We both were on a high in our life separately, figuring stuff out, making little mistakes, falling, bumping things, but we kept moving forward because we knew individually we needed to get somewhere. We needed to get stable. We needed to start to build something solid and things. But like with every story, there's a little we took both individually, took a dive. And I always say with Goldsboro, people can talk bad about it and all this, about the small town and all this, but our family is there. You know, mom's there, grandma's there. So at anything that goes on, if I'm feeling like low or I need to go home, then that's where good people, me speaking for myself and Benjamin also, that's where we reconnected at now in this.
Yeah, we basically met. I was definitely going through some stuff, and I had to come from a whole nother country to meet my lady, man. It was in 2018. I came back to the U.S. I had actually built the Natural Gas Company in 2018, and it was going great for about 6 months. Had a very downward fall, and it's only because I didn't listen. You have to listen to your inward conscious, and also to the predecessors who were there before us, our ancestors or whoever you want to call them. They are there to guide us as well. And because I didn't listen to, and the voice was very clear, but the people around me were very toxic, so I lost everything. Basically, I had to come back to North Carolina, and I found myself sleeping on my mom's couch. And like she said, you can always go back home to family, which is a great thing about country folk, North Carolinians, or just anybody. I ended up back home. It wasn't 2 years later in 2020 was when I met Devine, actually. I was working at Family Dollar, man. She walked in, and we both just looked at each other. It was like, I know you. And then we sparked up the conversation and realized that where we knew each other from the same high school. Yeah, we knew each other, of course. That's pretty much how we started in 2020, how we met.
And in 2018, you said you actually started the Natural Guys Company. That was the initial inception in 2018.
Yeah, man, in 2018.
And you were located where at that time?
I was located in Mannheim, Germany.
Mannheim, Germany. Okay. And when you founded the company, like, talk to me a little bit about what the initial launch of that looked like, the first version of the Natural Guys Company.
The first version of the Natural Guys Company were myself and another business partner that I had came across. He was more of the monetary part, the money part, and I had all the science and the business plan down packed. We acquired an office building. We just started I pretty much just started coming up with the recipes and things that I'd already known about, try to incorporate some herbal remedies. The whole thing started actually because I was homeless. And I needed something. I was also just tired of the norm and the whole narrative of the 9 to 5. I'm not the 9 to 5 type of person. Every job I get, I lose, or something goes wrong, and I needed something. So
you were homeless in Germany?
Yes. The story goes back, man. So I can tap on a little bit about everything if you want, man. I'm open.
I love to hear because because this is where people can really learn, because everybody has a path that they take. What we see along the way, especially the way that stuff is portrayed in the social media era, we don't really understand the true ingredients that make us successful. And the success that makes you successful is the adversity that you go through and overcome that makes you successful. But yet when we're on social media, we don't highlight adversities. We don't highlight quote unquote down times, we highlight the ups and the highs. We don't talk about the lows, when the lows are a part of why the high is so high, right? As much as you're willing to share, I'd love to hear about what ultimately resulted in you being homeless in Germany when you were in the military at some point. Like that is I'd like to know what happened to get to that point.
Like I said, I left the military. Well, I didn't say it. I'm gonna say it now. I left the military sporadically in 2010 because I'm such a free-minded person. I can't be some of the things that they had us doing in Iraq, and it's just too hot. Like, why am I doing this? The Iraqis don't want to have nothing to do with Western civilization. You can see these things now that you're inside the box. My way of thinking was, how can I get out of the military without causing myself or so much harm with it? Because they could actually lock me up for things like that. And I was in Iraq doing a 15-month tour in Iraq. And I was just like, man, one day I was like, man, what can I do to get out of this mug without getting in so much trouble? And I Googled it, and it was like drugs or smoke. So I smoked. When I got back, obviously when I got back, everybody was doing whatever, turning up. Like one day my sergeant pissed me off. I was like, man, you, man, that's why I smoke. Like, keep y'all off or whatever, man. And so they went immediately and just piss test me and made me do 40 days extra duty. And they gave me the option to leave or stay. And I said, well, with all due respect, I'd rather just get out. I don't want to do this lifestyle anymore. My sergeant signed off on it, and that was it in 2010. Without a knowledge or a whim of what am I going to do with my life, man. I'm sorry, babe.
I said, no, that was a big risk.
That was a huge risk. Those are the risks that I normally take because, like she said, when something don't resonate, sometimes you just got to move with spirit because stuff get crazy in the military, man.
Yeah.
And definitely in 2010, I met a woman and I got married in 2016. I'm gonna shorten this story up because it's long. So, for the sake of the podcast. So I got married, and in 2016 I had a child. Okay. And I have a 7-year-old son right now. So like I said, that was of course me and the the child's mother is not on good terms. That was in case made me homeless. I'm just not the 9-to-5 type of guy. I'm not the come home and then just on Sundays I can only work on my personal.
He wasn't the ideal husband back then. He was not.
Definitely not the ideal husband. You're right. Yeah, for sure. I had a lot of growing up to do. I was still out there doing my thing as well. Yeah, brother. So I definitely wasn't ready, but I knew I had a child. I had to figure out this thing really quick, and I knew that this 9-to-5 deal is not my bag, man. So what can I do that everybody loves and does every day? You're born, you live, you die, and in between, you take showers. And that thought actually came to me when I was homeless at a friend's house. I was like, I can make soap. I can make herbal products like my grandma used to do. I remember her talking about the lye soap and herbal teas, or this and that, whatever. So that's basically how Natural God started. And I was also homeless for quite a bit of time. During that time, I ended up sleeping in my office building during that time in 2018. So
how did you meet that initial investor or business partner at that time period to help get things lifted?
And God, man, I was out there one day on the river in Mannheim. There's a nice river out there, and we were sitting outside grilling out. Like always, I got my business plan with me. I got my stuff with me, and this guy just walked up. This young cat, he was probably 18 at the time. He was in school out there. He was half German and half Ghanaian, I want to say. Not to take away from his culture or anything, but he just walked up, and he was looking for some cool black people to hang out with, because in Germany, they're here and there too. And there we are. We just started chopping it up, and the next thing I know, I always talk about what I'm doing, and that was the thing. So, and I introduced it to him, and he was like, hey, man, I'm in school for this, and I got the money. I was doing this business plan, but I like your idea better, and that's just how it evolved.
So you got introduced to Germany through the military, but then ended back in Germany post-military. Why Germany?
Man, Germany, like Devine was speaking on the US of A, man, it kind of lost the taste in my mouth for it because I always knew that it was something outside that little box that we live in Goldsboro, North Carolina. It's always something out there. We learn about all this stuff in the history books, about the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower, also slavery, which is the only thing that really equate on. But then when my recruiter told me that I was going to Germany, because I told him I wanted to go somewhere outside of the US. When he told me Germany, I was kind of nervous because I'm like, man, this is straight up all we know. Black folk is Nazi, Hitler, that type of regime. Is there any black people over there? What am I gonna do? It was Germany. Everybody was hyping my head up about, yo, that's the best thing since sliced bread. Well, when I got there, it definitely was, because it opened my mind up to a new social system of how they actually take care of their people a different way. And nobody's here is actually, the only reason I will say is the only reason why I was homeless is because I was sporadically kicked out of the house and not conforming to a system. But if you will, very much take care of their people here, very much different way than the U.S. Like I said, I had my son here. So when I went back to the States in 2018, I could not leave my man. That's what we talk about, family. Your show is based off family. So he is one of the main reasons why I'm back here, to also give him what we're passing down, what we're building, so we can pass down to our next generation.
So I didn't realize that your son was actually born in Germany. I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the situation happens. You end up relocating back home to the U.S., Goldsboro, at the Family Dollar. Now, let me just interject here for a second, because
Right.
let's just be real. Let's just be real.
Yo,
Most niggas is
so
not
grateful.
gonna get any play working at the Family Dollar. If she come in to buy whatever and you
My
try and
boy.
shoot your shot, it is tough.
My boy, it ain't tough. It ain't tough, cuz you got to know the quality. And I love our people, man. I love our people, but our hood could do better. And the quality of people that are around there, they always could use a smile. And I'm that type of person who's been cultured. And man, so I'm behind the counter and I'm just, oh, hey, you look pretty today. How you doing? But when Devine walked in, man, she stopped me, man. And we both kind of like, and like, oh, we know each other. So, man, definitely Family Dollar is, I'm very grateful to have that gig, because I was trying to think in my mind, how in the world can I get up enough money to get back to Germany and see my son, like just to live there again, because, and I can't get it at Walmart or working at Family Dollar, you know what I mean? So it was definitely a lot of stress on me at the time, man. So
Wow. Okay. I appreciate you sharing that. Devine, you were led back to Goldsboro as well. What was it that took you back to Goldsboro around that time period?
Well, I had a tragedy to happen. I was living in New Jersey. I was there a good maybe 5 years. I might have been going on 6 years living in Germany. And I had a tragedy when I decided to give birth at a teaching hospital in Goldsboro. I was pregnant, so I came down and lived with my mother. It was this moment where the pregnancy was like planned but not planned. It was like one of those moments where you're like, okay, I don't care if it happens because we've already talked about it. But then when it happened, it was like, oh my God. I got really, really sick. And during the end of my pregnancy, my mother and everybody agreed, okay, let's just go home. We'll get a bigger house. We'll help you. And I did. And when I gave birth, I decided to go to a teaching hospital, and she didn't make it, in the sense of 7 months later, she had gotten sick. This was right before COVID. She just basically went into this state of shock from being poked a lot. Like, I have to choose my words very carefully, because it's a very weird and sticky situation where I did not sue the hospital for it, because I just didn't want to go through it, the time bringing up all, like, just basically trying to collect a bunch of evidence, and the network there was really tight. So I just didn't have the energy. I just wanted to just leave it alone. Yeah, when she passed, that kept me in Goldsboro, because I needed to start my grieving process and my healing process. I had to do her ceremony, and I had a bunch of friends and family around me at the time to just love on me, support me, take care of me. I couldn't have asked for like better people to be around me at the time. Everybody know who they are. That was just came without question and was there, and that's what landed me there. So after a while, because it became a blur to me after like something tragic just happened, I'm like, kind of like, wow, I'm back in Goldsboro. I got pregnant, I had a baby, she died. And now I'm without child and back in Goldsboro. And then COVID, boop. Like, not all of that just was like a domino effect right before I reconnected with Benjamin at Family Dollar. Because I was going in there right after she passed. I was going through my grieving process obsessed with consulting counselors and healers, just going back to ground zero, doing the healing work, because at the end of the day, I'm human. So I can represent a lot within my brand, my life on social media. People may see me talk about spirituality or talk about things, but at the end of the day, shit happens, real life happens, death happens, it fucks you up. Like, grief is for real. And I did not know until that shit happened to me. And it really was like, what the hell just happened? So in between my process of this happening, I stayed with my mom, and I was just, every single day, I was just waking up and having to process this thing. And somewhere down the line, I was just like, it's just time to, heal again. And I wanted to do like this day retreat for people to come and learn about different things. I had speakers, I had a guest line speaker line up, but I needed this little something, right? I needed something that I knew I can get at Family Dollar. It was like this little container box thing. I'm just like looking for something specific, but to get it for cheap. So I was like, I'm on a mission, and Family Dollar in the hood, they're missions. You get in, you get out, boom. Like that's, you drive in the hood again. So I was like, okay. And that morning I went in, looked for a box, and I was like, well, the manager was trying to sell it to me for $2. I was like, no, it's Family Dollar. Give it to me for $1. If you can't, then I'm out. So she was like, $2.50. I'm like, no, well, bye. So I left. And listen, when we talk about intuition and voice and ancestors and things that we feel on the inside, our body organs give off signals. It is for real. Gut, butterflies, all of these things that operate within inside of us tells us things, whether we're full, all the things, right? So I leave Family Dollar and I go to my homegirl house, and I couldn't stop thinking about this box. And it wasn't the fact that I left it for $2.50 and didn't get it for $1, but I was like, it was calling me. You understand? It was like, just go get the box. Everything will be okay. Just go back and get the box. And I went back to Family Dollar, and I knew exactly where it was. So I was on a mission. I sped in, but it was, if you
next day.
What do you say, babe?
It was the next day.
The next day I went in, and I sped in the next day. And if it was slow motion, it was like we made eye contact, and then I went on the aisle, and I was like, I put my hand over my heart.
The crazy thing is, I wasn't even supposed to open that morning. I was supposed to come in that evening, but she called me, was like, hey, can you come in and open up the store? I'm like, yeah, came in early that morning. And therefore, if I hadn't, I would have missed this whole opportunity. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was...
No, that's fine. I mean, that's what it was. It was like we and it was on a really nice portal day. It was like 3-3 lined up, just one of those moments where I was in my zone. Like, I was like, okay, I just wanted to feel what I was feeling and take my teachings, take my knowledge, keep studying, take everything, just take it and keep moving forward, because I am alive. Like, my mantras when my daughter died was like, my life is over. I don't want to do this shit. Like, every day, like every day. It took like my people in my family would just stand over the bed because I'm crying all day. I couldn't do nothing but cry. These are mantras that I was putting out there, like, my life is over. I can't do this without her. I don't know. I had to take that energy and just take all that willpower and that sorrow, and man, I just decided, hey, just hold space. That's really important now, is to hold space for others that are going through things, that are grieving or whatever, experiencing things. And I'm a nature loving individual, so I like to incorporate the real natural law of things in the universe to help with that process. And which is why I was holding a conference or a day retreat, and then COVID happened. So me and Benjamin met, then COVID happened. And then it was like it wasn't like we stuck together, but it was like, look, we're gonna figure this out. This was like the sounding of the alarm for all conspiracy theories. And listen, I can be one, whatever. I'm not into labels, but listen, I already know. So this COVID back in whatever pandemic, this all that happened these years ago, when it first came and it shocked the world, it was really, I said, this is time. This break the glass time right now. It's break the glass time for real.
And look, first and foremost, truly sorry that you had to experience such an incident in your life, and I can only imagine what that was like. So my deepest condolences for what you had to experience. I guess my question is, when you guys met, what were your names at the Family Dollar? Was it Yashika? What was your original name, Benjamin, when you were born?
My name is Keandre Fletcher, or was Keandre Fletcher.
So did you get introduced as Keandre Yashika, or did you say I'm Benjamin? Had we already made that shift?
At the time, I was still trying to get Keandre out of my system, man. Keandre got some old ways that I like to share. And so it wasn't until months, I think it was probably months later that me and Devine got together. I shot myself in the knee, to be realistic about it. I had a knee injury. It was only then where I was forced to be still. I had to be still. And I was laying on the bed at the house a lot of times, just studying like I always do. And that's when I came up with the name. Actually, the name came to me, actually.
And I was, I think I gave you a business card. We came back in or something. I left.
You did.
I had another moment. Like, I went to the car and got a business card, but it had Yashika Devine up there.
Yeah, she's always been Devine to me. So that's all I went through. Yeah.
So let's talk about that, of going from Yashika to Devine, because and you mentioned you came down from New Jersey. Was that the time period in which you embraced this name, or did you embrace that before you even landed in New Jersey area?
I embraced it before I landed to Jersey, because Jersey was another life-changing and turning point, like a whole cultural experience and a lot of highly powerful individuals that I was able to learn from directly and be with and around all the time really helped influence that. But it was before I moved there, because I was always in like the settings there. So I just kind of like set myself up to be there, because before I moved, I was there virtually, just groups and things like that. So I was always called Devine.
And when you say like highly powerful people in that area, is it possible to speak to who some of these people were you were able to learn from and work with, or are you able to share that?
I can share some, but not all. Maybe one of my master, I will call her like just this master teacher. She's earning her right, is Asia. I give her credit like 100%. Beautiful Asia, very, very powerful sister in the Nation of Gods and Earth, and just the New Jersey Anti-Violence Coalition. Very boots on the pavement, like hitting the ground, microphone, loudspeaker, and just really, she's introduced me to a whole community in Newark, New Jersey that I'm just always grateful for. Have met so many people, so many beautiful sisters that's passionate, dedicated to just what their mission is like, and that's something I also learned from my husband, is like, you don't abandon the mission, you don't abandon what you're here to do, you don't abandon this mission. And I've been grateful, and that's just one, moving to Jersey. But that was really the whole reason, was to really see what was going on and gain insight so that I can also apply. And that's one of the best things that I learned, is to apply, learn, get what you need, and then leave the rest, because everything is not for everybody. You're not here to like be replicas of one another. Everybody has some gift and things to teach, and if you are lucky enough to sit at the feet of true teachers, then you take it. And that's what my experience there was. And
you mentioned Nation of God, is Nation of Gods and Earths, did I say that correct?
Yeah, 5%ers in the Nation of Gods and Earth. Now I don't even want to get into it, because
do you identify it with that community? Like, do you say I am one of? Okay.
No, you would have thought so back in the day, especially on social media, because it was a lot. It was really a lane out there back in, let's say, 10 years ago, with the groups and just learning, and the language would make people think that you are a part of this group or whatever. But no.
Okay, got it. The learning, the type of stuff that you learn, like, can we just speak to what it is that's so enlightening about this process? Because it seems to have a huge piece of just how you identify and who you are. Like, what are these things that you're learning that you didn't know before?
Okay, well, I would be very transparent. Maybe with let's see, one, certain things that were really how to be a civilized person, civilized woman, and what that looked like. Even that part of being a civilized individual and not disrespecting yourself in public, in the streets, and things like that. I learned that from a sister in the Nation of Islam. So I really take in certain things that maybe just be like how to repair a hem in your pants or domestic things around the house that I didn't learn from my mom directly, certain things. Just how to really like properly set a table and things like that. But deeper knowledge just of the world, like the science of just life and the cycles of human existence. It's just really more to it than you are born and then you die, because you go through certain life cycles every 7 years, and then by the time you get to 28, there are things that should have connected by then, and you go on a different journey. And then by the time you're middle age, there's a possibility that this could happen. So I was like studying the growth of human evolution more so than taking a specific one thing and just studying that one thing. Because I could have been in the Nation of Islam, I could have been in the Nation of Gods and Earth, I could have been a 5%er, Christian type thing. But I just really took it all in and position myself to where I just didn't get labeled with it, but respectfully studied a lot more.
Very, very interesting. And that history seems to be a common denominator between the two of you, because Benjamin expressed he had a love for history, learning things, and that seems to be something that resonated with you as well, Devine. So upon meeting, and then you're coming back to Goldsboro with this knowledge, which I don't think is necessarily as common in a place like Goldsboro, where you run into people like that day to day. Is that fair to say?
It's quite fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I
don't want to go crazy
a little bit now in current day, but back then, like, no, it was. That's why a lot of people was following my Facebook back when I had one, and would think like, what are you? This is not typical Christian language, or calling yourself a goddess or a queen, or saying peace queen, like the typical language that the greeting that will be said. And I'm like, okay, this is just me finding my way, and let me do me, because I'll find my way. And eventually you see how now current day 2023, everybody's like queen and this and goddess and all this now. So
is that an example of positive programming? What do you think that is?
Yeah, that's really what it's about. Positive programming, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And yes, I really would say yes, because it's the same thing with the golden hip hop era and the music and the positive messages, positive programming. And that's really where my stance came from, because I'm like, I know nobody's talking about this type of stuff, but I'm gonna repost it, I'm gonna reshare it. All my friends all over the US, so from Jersey to Milwaukee to Texas to California, social media brought us, Facebook and those groups brought us all together. Then they will befriend me. So now my page is lit with all types of knowledge and greetings and things like that, positive information. People were seeing it or not, engaging or not, but there was a lot who would. Now you can see that it was an influence into their life, definitely.
Y'all meet before COVID hits. How did COVID impact the dynamic between the two of you in that early stage? Because COVID force people to spend more time around each other than what they used to. Like I do remember before COVID hit, I would go to the office every day. My wife would be out every day, and then we come back and see each other at the end of the day. So you go these hours not being around each other, but then all of a sudden overnight, we're working next to each other in a place that was not created to work from home. And we did not plan to be having the kitchen table be like this and you be over here in this corner. And we were spending a lot of time around each other versus where we had breaks before. I'm curious, for you meeting early on, what did COVID do to y'all's dynamic early on?
Man, COVID was definitely necessary for our dynamic. I would definitely say that, man. because I assume, or from what they say, a lot of couples actually broke up around that time.
Yes.
You know, because they couldn't stand to be around each other. But because we knew the mission at hand and we knew exactly what we had came together to do, we knew that it was necessary to learn the ins and outs of one another, man. And it was not easy. We had to learn each other because the original point that we tried to make when we came together was we wanted to break generational curses, and not to realize that a generation is only 20 or 30 years, man. So we talking about us, our last two, we 38, we 30. So that's us, man. So we really got to break our old habits, our old ways of thinking, and learn. I had to learn how to be a husband, man. I had to learn how to be a dad, a father. That for me came easy, but the husbandry part came a little bit difficult, as most men need to learn how to be a husband as well, man. So it was necessary for us to go through the ins and outs, the ups and downs and the sideways and all around, for us to make this thing happen.
It was fun. It was fun for me. Like, as soon as COVID hit, I was like, oh, okay, now we get to stay quarantining with each other now. All cool.
Old heads say they over there shacking up. Over there
shacking up, yeah. And even for the business.
It was perfect. We got together and we started like experimenting. He introduced me to the world of the Natural Guys Company and what happened, the downfalls and all that. He explained everything to me. One thing I'm so happy about is that he was super transparent. I mean, we had to be. I had a huge loss, so we had to be extremely transparent with each other. And it wasn't like I had very high standards and boundaries, and a part of me, like, he didn't have the best reputation because of things of this.
That boy working at Family Dollar.
Hey, you know what, man? I upgraded to Walmart, my brother. You know. Eventually, I upgraded to Walmart, man. But that's about best you're gonna get around there.
But it was like, I knew, I'm like, okay, it's not like this goes, bro, at the end of the day. So it was like, I knew he wasn't taking a lot of things serious. He was just there to just clear his mind and kind of figure things out again. And
can I interject real quick? I try my best not to cut people off, but this point here I think is important to highlight, because so I'm met my wife around 25, 26. I think we got married at 26. And so thanks. Yeah, we'll be actually 10 years this week. This week will be our 10 year, right? So, so I appreciate that. We talk about just obviously sharing 10 years of marriage and who we were before we met and that time period. And I often tell her, like, you just gave a chance. And a lot of young ladies don't give a chance in that mid-20s time period. And the challenge in our community typically is that what a young man has to go through in terms of his development versus a young lady, there tends to be more friction in terms of what culture sets him up to get caught doing. Like, when you're a black man, you're preyed on more than, say, black women when it comes to the variables around you. And because of that, we see way more women, black women in college than black males. So then naturally, by the time when you get to 25, you have this young, ambitious group of young ladies who are educated, who are getting their careers started. The average black male, a lot of us, some are going to be in that same pool, but a lot of us are going to develop a lot slower given the obstacles that we face at a young age, obstacles that come from different angles. And when you're in those mid-20s, I found one of the more difficult things as a young man around that time period was I felt like I was a great guy, et cetera, but the expectations that were put on me from those women that I was dating at the time or interacting with at the time, it was just like, yo, I'm not your dad. Like, I like, what are you, I just got out of school. Like, I'm trying to figure stuff out too. Like, I can't do what this vision you have, but my wife was different in that she didn't approach, say, me or our dynamic like that. And she saw the value that I had as a human being. She saw just who I was, and we worked together to help each other grow and figure things out for each other. And I got to highlight here another example of giving a a chance. Because if you aren't open enough to see who he is, not just what he's doing, versus most people want to lead with what do you do versus who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we don't do that enough, or I don't think we do it enough in our community. And it's frankly a challenge to Black women who are interested in Black men to, if you're in that group of mid-20s and y'all are at the same period, give more grace to what he's doing, because that's not who he is per se. He's still figuring things out too. So if you're willing to invest and go along the journey, you'll have a very healthy sort of thing that you've built together over time, where you have it connected together versus trying to wait for somebody to have all this stuff and then thinking that you're going to be their equal when they meet you, when they've already, it just doesn't work like that. And if you want to have real true partnership, you got to do this.
That's really what those are. They looking to be the beneficiary at that point, what they can benefit from, whatever that they come to the table with, or whatever they think that they come to the table with, and try to set themselves up like that. But I had very similar thoughts in college. Like, okay, I'm in my 20s. Like, I just knew that when I went to Winston, I said, oh, I'm gonna meet my husband here. Like, that was I was meet my husband. Well, we both about to ride and we about to do it. Negative, because it didn't happen. What'd you say, babe?
I said, got him.
Got me for real, because by the time I got to college, I saw another wave of men. And this is what you would, as a woman, you would be like, whoa, like, how dare you have standards? Like, you women think they're the only ones that's supposed to have standards. No, I saw another wave of men at school that would have standards. Like, okay, we're going to do this. You have to be able to do this if I'm going to do this. And I saw that and I was like, okay, cool. That's really good. Because I know by the time I'm ready and I want to meet and we start building for real, and not just physical attraction, going out, hanging out on a yard type, but really building like a future and sitting, maybe we can go to the library and plan out like our future. But it wasn't until I was years later that I knew I had to take my own individual journey outside of that and be 100% confident. When I met Benjamin, I was 100% confident. I was like, okay, I know there was some stuff that
to be working at Family Dollar, man. You're right. Yeah.
But it was only because I saw deeper. I didn't see surface level. I didn't see Family Dollar. Come on, I did not see Family Dollar.
You know what I came to her with, man? Man, I came to her with a business plan the first day. The first day we met up, like that afternoon. Or was it the next day? I can't even remember now. It's the next day.
It was, I can't remember, next day or afternoon.
Man, I brought my laptop. The first day we had a business plan date. Like that was, you know, but that's definitely something. It's important, man, because a lot of marriage businesses fail. I think 1% or something. I don't even know the stats.
Yeah.
But what we're building is a solid foundation within us, so that when we have our children, and my son, who's already here, man, he can inherit the knowledge, wisdom, and the understanding of just life, and already, not necessarily if you don't want to go into the health and wellness industry, or they can also have the inherited tools to have their own thing going, whatever they want to do.
Sure.
There'll definitely be. I think those tools are a lack now. Nobody's teaching these tools, man. I think if you're 50 and above, you should be passing down some type of knowledge to the younger generation about how to get their stuff together, man. So that's definitely important.
And both of you mentioned just a distaste for the U.S., learning about other cultures. You eventually relocated at some point after you met. So when did you actually, and not just when, but what was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, to say, what, I know you mentioned you had your son, but what was the straw that said, okay, now is the time to go back to Germany, or to go to Germany?
And it was the height of COVID when we shot out of that place, man. It was the height of COVID. We was just like, let's do it. Devine had bought the tickets, I think 5 months before. Man, things had gotten really bad with COVID, man. We was like, we gonna get up out of here. We was manifesting in our mind. We saw it. We was actually physically there in the place that we were gonna be. Man, we put all our I'm sorry.
Yeah, we really took that time to really just go in because family is important. And I knew this was just phase one of whatever is going to roll out later. So I knew it was going to have a heightened sense of awareness, and then it was going to come down and may pop up again. But it was just a point in this whole movement of our life and life path that we had to be patient and wait. And then when it was time to it's kind of like a game. You just have to wait until opportunity when the thing gets close to jump on it so that you can get to the next side. And that's what it was when that came for us, and we just had to process it, and that's what we pretty much did. It was dope. I'm a planner. I love planning. It was like, okay, and because his son was there, it was a no-brainer. Like, why would I even want to be in a marriage or union or relationship with him, and he's not not around his son? So that for me was just a no-brainer. Like, if I have to recreate my life in another country, I will. I'm Gladys Knight said it best. I'd rather live in this world than be without him in mind. Like, that's live in this world.
And okay, if I'm wrong here, let me know. But from what I remember from my days in being, my wife was in the foreign service. She adjudicated visas. I know a little bit about that process. So from what I understand, going to Germany, we didn't, I think maybe in the future we might, but we didn't need to get a visa to go to Germany, and you could stay there for as long as 90 days, I think, before you had to leave and re-enter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did you guys go over there with a 90-day plan, then kind of leave and come back? Or did you go over there we're here moving forward?
No, brother, that's the thing. That's the difference between, I think, freedom and sovereignty, because our sovereign mind allows us to be above. Once we say we're going to do something, it's mind, body, and spirit all in one, and that's manifested, and that's what we're going to do. And it doesn't matter who's in our way, these little obstacles, we're passing through, man. And that's we knew that once we got here, no 3-month visa was going to hold us back. No, Devine is great over here, man. She has her visa. She's doing her thing. So, yeah, man.
It was about strategy. Really, the 3-month, and you just learn, you research. So all you have to do is research and figure out a plan for yourself. The beautiful thing about how all this is coming full circle is just preparation. One of my mottos was, what is it, babe? Piss poor prevents preparation. I haven't said it in a while. Preparation prevents piss poor
planning. Performance. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really okay. Let me just put this let me go back in my childhood or in my early stages of dreaming about the world, because as grown-ups, as adults, we still should definitely tap into that child dream, imagination, and a world of wonder. What happened to that world of wonder where you can do anything and you can be anything and you can do it. One of the things that I have always wanted to do was be a freelance writer, I was thought that word was just so interesting to me growing up, because I'm I don't really want to work for nobody. I want to be a freelancer. And that stuck with me. So, hey, that was amazing opportunity. I'm just happy to be able to know exactly the route to take to get me to where I need to be. What it looks like ain't always what it is. It's just what the eyes perceive it to be.
I appreciate the way y'all talk about the intent behind what you do, because I've said this on a prior episode, the story of Moses in terms of the Red Sea, parting the Red Sea. And we often read these stories and we're like, oh, this stuff isn't true, because from a scientific standpoint, who's going to part the Red Sea to just walk from one end to the other, right? Is this Star Wars, or what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But the meaning behind that, I think, is more about what you said in terms of when you do what you're called to do, and you don't let the perceived obstacles around you get in your way. Mm-hmm. Somehow they get out of your way, and a path is cleared for you to move forward. Even if it's not, say, the path in which you thought it would be, but when you stay true to the mission and what you've committed, and like you said, mind, body, soul, it all starts with what you think and then what you do behind it. When all of that is aligned, things get out of your way. And especially when you are also able to do something, what you said earlier, listen to the instincts within, because there are illusions and temptations around us to trick us into not doing trick us into not listening to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to be able to decipher what's really us talking versus what somebody has told us to tell ourselves. Like, this is like the biggest, at least to me, it's been one of the biggest things that I've had to sharpen against, to understand, like, what am I thinking versus what have I been taught to think, or what have I been taught to respond or feel versus how I truly feel about something.
At a certain time, like when you battle yourself a little bit with that, because there is like a period where you're really feeling messed up about what you getting ready to go against. And there's like a period where you're like, okay, let me reevaluate. But for me, I know it's a short period, but when you actually make the decision and follow through with everything and see the results of it and feel it and know it, and internally, like, just complete surrender and gratitude, and just be thankful that that is what you asked for this is exactly what you asked for, and just be grateful for it. It does open the door for that to be a flow with really more ease. Like, your decisions in life flow with a lot more ease when you're in alignment with those things. I could have listened to whatever about the old Keandre, his situation, Family Dollar, messy.
Right. Right.
But I immediately saw past that. I saw like totally something different, and I honor him. I'm so totally grateful. Like, I really am grateful that I
thank you, babe.
Knew that
she had to, man, because we was just talking about my squeakers, man. I had these old shoes, bro, that and these squeakers, bro. They used to squeak every time I walk, man. And I said, damn, you know what I'm saying? I still got chosen, I still got chosen.
With the squeaks, you know what I mean?
Had the squeakers on,
still got chose with the squeakers.
I was busted down, man.
A man will change for the woman that he wants to be, the woman that he wants to be in his future. He will change for it. So like I may have been a little hard on him and challenging, or just needed reassurance on certain things, but that's a really good thing that I can say to any woman out here. If you see that man has changed or is changing, proactively step back, chill out, relax.
Right.
Man, brothers, don't be afraid to be challenged by your woman, man. That's what's going to mold you and shape you to a piece of steel, brother. So don't be afraid to be taking a little constructive criticism and all that good stuff, man. Take it with a grain of salt and move on, man. That's what men do. So.
And I got to double down on what you speak from a man's perspective, because I think where a lot of misstep is they intentionally seek a woman who they know they can have an advantage over in the power dynamic. They intentionally seek
that better myself, man.
relationships where they know going into the relationship they're going to have a certain asymmetry of power because of the money they make or their age. Or now granted, I always talk about how just this idea of what's it called, underage. Like, that's a new philosophy in human civilization. Like, even our grandparents, those folks were getting like the color purple with Celie and Mister and everything. Like, that was very normal just 2 generations ago. The average man learns from those types of people, and that sort of mindset of like, this is why you date, this is why you have a woman, this is how you treat them, this is what they need to be doing. And unfortunately, in the world we're in today, especially given just where we are today as a community, that is a detrimental mindset to the Black community. Black men can't view women that way or try to set up relationships under that old model, because it's an old model. We got to update the model. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, when you are interested in young, you want to find someone who is not afraid to call you out on your bullshit and hold you accountable, because the average will run you over if there's no respect there. That's just how it's going to be. If I know I'm just going to be able to get away with this, I'm going to do what I'm going to continue to do it. Yeah. So the women have to be comfortable holding people accountable too. And guys got to be, they have to allow themselves to get checked when they know they're wrong instead of lying all the time. It's like, when you know you're wrong, just all right, I was wrong. Like, no need to twist it, gaslighter, do any other. Like, look, when you wrong, you wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's important. Like you said, it's still sharp and steel. Why, as a man, would you intentionally seek a partner who you know you're going to take advantage of, or who you know you don't have that mutual respect for? It's not a healthy, it's already the makings of an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah. Both of y'all being set up for failure.
Let me just go here with it then, because especially in some of those communities that you mentioned, nation, a lot of, let me not say a lot, but in the Muslim community, the idea of polygamy, polyamory, especially over in Europe. I know when I was in Amsterdam, it's rampant. Like, it is a thing over there for sure. So I'm curious, like, just for you all, I don't necessarily go down this road, but since we here, like, are y'all do you even believe in the institution of marriage, or are you like this one of these kind of newer sort of unionized things? Like, how do you define your own sort of partnership?
Well, you want to take that, babe?
Yeah. I was previously married on paper, and I would tell anybody, man, if that's what you want to do, by all means, go ahead with the middleman thing. But definitely, man, to have a spiritual tie with someone is a lot better. It's 1,000 times better, man, because for one, it's only you two guys, and it's only you two and a spirit. There's 3 people there. So you can really get to know each other for who you are. Yeah, definitely, I think, I forgot what I was going with that joint, but
it's so many different ways that different
ways.
What do you call yourselves? Husband, wife, partners? Like, how do you refer to each other?
My wife, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely call her my wife. Yeah, everything, babe, wife, whatever, man.
Definitely.
We definitely don't conform to. I'm sorry, babe.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, we definitely don't conform to titles and these groups and things like that. We've kind of elevated our spirit above.
We know, like we're creating like alternatives instead of buying rings. Like, I love jewelry, and I won't be opposed to a ring, but like we got matching tattoos on our ring finger. We did that as just like tribal and just doing things, experiencing things together. Memories is really big for us, creating memories so that we can keep dates on what we did, when we did them. We have the symbol on our ring finger, which signifies this intertwining of union that we've always dreamed of we want to be in. In the fairy tale world, it is getting married, it is buying the right dress and having all your family. And we're going to have a dope celebration one day. We already know we're going to have a really amazing like gathering one day where our family, friends, children that will witness us saying more affirmative life statements to each other and creating more vows and things like that. We just want to do it different. I've never been a traditional person. When he said he told me about his previous marriage, I was just like, oh, I feel I was like, dang, because I kind of knew that it's just kind of like a closed eye blind thing where I'm trying to figure it out, but in the process of just making a mess. So now that he got an opportunity to clean it up, this is what I'm supposed to be, not the one that keeps spilling stuff and make you pay for your mistakes, but to support that you made a mess, but maybe you don't have to. This is clean it up and on your own time, and how you are able to heal, because you have to heal and grow and learn too. It's just so inevitable. And I'm very patient and was patient with the process, but immediately we already knew that we were in a union, and also just equating like the marriage license to the business license. Same thing, same different toilet.
A marriage is a partnership agreement, just like a business is. It's very similar. It's very, very similar. No question there.
So we do,
especially when you sign that document.
We have that, our paperwork in terms of that, and more.
So let me, because I do because my thinking is, if I'm willing to create paperwork between us to say this is what this is, then why not get legally married too? What, like, from your point of view, what's the why behind embracing the fact that we do need something here as an agreement to make sure that we are on the same page, or no?
We don't need it. Yeah. He's already experienced that with another situation, and I never have experienced it, and I never wanted to. I ran from like 4 marriage proposals. I could have been married 4 times in my lifetime, but I could not put myself through that. Like the cheating and the till death do you part. Women be really on that. You say them vows, they be like, oh, type thing. It's kind of,
I think the whole matter of it is that we create our own bylaws for our own marriage. when you get your paper signed, your marriage certificate signed or whatnot, the government created their bylaws for you. That's pretty much where that stands. And also speaking on like polygamy, I was on that, studying that pretty hard. And I thought that I was in Dubai. I saw the guys with the 4 or 5 wives and the Louis Vuitton burkas and doing their thing. And
Louis
I was
Vuitton
okay,
burkas, dang.
But definitely, man, you got to master the art of one woman before you think you can get 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying?
Man, yeah,
it's definitely the truth. The men who are doing it, shout out to them in Africa, and other continents and countries and places, man. They definitely, if it's working for them.
So for the record, it's not something that y'all embrace in y'all's partnership. It's very much between 2 individuals, not open to others and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much. We discussed it in the beginning, and we pretty much came to the same conclusion that that's what it was, man. So
because I was open to it too in the beginning. Like we were definitely studying the same, but it was a very clear no because because of the. It only worked for certain people. I feel like it works for a certain, and I don't even know if my bro out there in the world still doing it. I'm pretty sure he is, but the way he had his little situation going, I respected it 100%. But
you got to be with your first wife for a certain amount of time and get to know that first wife, and then she makes the decision. You can suggest it, but she picks the wife, and but she makes the decision, man. And that's where I think a lot of guys who's trying to do this thing get it all twisted and pimping and all that. It's not even like that, man. And I think that if we could, if we wanted to do it, we could do it. But right now, it's definitely not an option for us right now. So
we're not accepting any applications.
Yeah, no, I gotta like we talk about the model in which the relationship, like, so maybe there was a point in time where the model for one husband, multiple wives, maybe there's a point in time where that model makes a lot of sense. Today, I just see that as a very stressful model personally. Yeah, and I've been married 10 years. I don't know, say, what that dynamic would look like if all of a sudden I have to then share the amount of investment with another party. Right. It's just
what if she was well prepared to, it wasn't that you would take her on like completely, fully finances and just take her on, but what if she was prepared to be an asset to your family?
I'd be curious, like, what an asset would look like. Like, do we get the and like, it's like what kind of like what kind of assets we talking about? Because like realistically, okay, if it's 7 days in a week, who gets how many days? Or is it somebody gets nights and weekends, like back in the day with the cell phone, like free nights and weekends?
Free nights and weekends.
Yeah. And then somebody else gets the day shift. Or am I given like, A-B schedule? I'm with you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm with you this. Like, I'm already stressed. I'm already stressed.
How you and your first wife set it up.
I really think it could work if it was like on alternate schedules. Like, unless everybody's just into like this huge energy vortex of high power sexual energy that could be happening. But a lot of that could just really be like alternative schedules. Like you got got one during the day, one in the evening, and rotate. I don't know. It's just me at the end of the day. It's just really conversation because it's not. I don't see it. It's not. Don't resonate with me at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It just sounds like a lot to function, especially like I said, businesses, anything between 2 people. The data to suggest that it'll be successful is already what it is, whether it be partnerships, businesses. The more people that have a seat at the table, the less likely that everybody's going to be on the same page. That's just how I tend to see it. But let me give, so you guys come to Germany with the business plan, with already like even you've had a swing at it too. You've got some experience, you've gotten a little knowledge, and now you're coming back with a partner and an improved plan to get this natural guys company off the ground. But you're doing this at the heat of COVID when things are still shut down, quarantine, all that type of stuff. So what were some of the initial challenges as it relates to the natural guys company when you guys touched down in Germany and wanted to really hit the ground running with the business?
Everything was shut down.
Everything was shut down. This mandatory mask mandate, you know how it is, man. But pretty much everything was shut down. What we had to do was we had brought some products from the States with us over to Germany. And we used those as kind of like a barter system to get things that we wanted or needed at the time. And it also gave us a chance to talk about our company with other people as well and share knowledge and experience and also things like that. So the challenges definitely was that it was just everything was shut down.
What were some of those products?
I'm sorry?
What were some of those products that y'all came over here with or over to Germany with?
We came over with soap, of course. That's like our popular product. And then salve and body butter, tinctures, roll-on essential oil blends. We came over with a nice amount. We shipped a lot of stuff over with boxes and things like that. And then we just saw it as a huge opportunity now because a lot of herbs, what we were doing in the States naturally, that we found in the States, dried or we bought them from like other places, naturally grew over here. And we saw that as a learning opportunity too, to just take the time and just learn the land over here, learn the herbs, learn what grow, what season. So we just went all the way back into student mode once again. But in between those times, we set up like photo shoots and we just kind of like bartered with our old products, gave people samples, and we just really kind of like bootstrapped everything about this company. But the challenge was that everything was shut down, so there was like no markets. It was horrible. It was like ghost town around here. Can you just imagine, like no live events, no nothing, and how it was with everything when it just happened in the heat of it.
And you trying to sell stuff that get sold by the like aroma and the scent and the senses. It's a sensory product. It's hard to sell someone a soap that they've never smelled before or felt before, or a cream they can't sample in the store. You know, it's like people typically aren't gonna get those products without some sort of face-to-face interaction first, typically.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, most people like to smell it and touch it and things like that. So it was a little bit of a challenge at the time. So
we just met people.
And you said your grandmother was sort of the inspiration for the soap. So what type of soap did grandma make back in the day?
They call it La soap. And it's just, I don't know, really. I was young, man. So I just know they used to make soap and I figured it out. So I went back to the drawing board and started doing some studying. Like she said, we were very much in student mode, man. So I went and took some courses and I actually got a Master Herbalist degree and really took it to the next level so that I can really get the ins and outs of these herbs that we're using. And we want to really pride people on the education portion of it, of the things that they're putting onto their bodies. It's not so much of the scents, of the smells of these products, but it's more so the medicinal value that it has and can benefit you as a whole.
Like what, when you say that medicinal value, what's some examples of what you mean there?
Oh, for sure. Any type of skin inflammation that's mostly what our soaps and body butters are for. And then we also have other products like teas. We have a very fine collection of teas, but these herbs that we're using are very hand-picked and very like selected for certain ailments like maybe high blood pressure or skin rashes. Yeah, things that people go through generally every day. We go out into the forest and forage these specific herbs.
Out in Germany, the forest in Germany, y'all in German forests, picking up berries and leaves and herbs straight from the land.
Straight from the rooter to the tutor,
creating these products.
It was so many herbs that we didn't even know. Like, I mean, it's still a lot that we see all and just really are at all, like going and seeing all these different herbs out here. It's amazing.
Yeah. In the States, we had to
go ahead.
I was saying in the States, we had to order most of our herbs from different sources, but here, like Devine said, they grow naturally here. Red clover, Oregon grape root, so much nettle, so much things here that just grow in our backyard. We want to keep like a bird's eye view on our inventory and the ingredients that we put in our products, so we can actually forge these products by hand and actually break them down, make sure they're in top quality, and then make the oils and everything that goes for our product.
But then when we educate you identify these plants and then you realize that they grow everywhere because you have the knowledge, because we're bringing this awareness to you of like, this is what the plant looks like, this is where it grows, what it does, and the next thing you start seeing it like, oh man, that's this nettle, or oh wow, that's dandelion, whatever.
Like in the country down here, that poke salad that they would eat. Sometimes it'd be like some joint that would grow like as a weed. But I heard like my pop side of the family, one time I was with him and he was like, oh, it's some poke salad. And it was like, some what? And it's just like a weed, and he chopped it down and he cooked it up. And I was like, what in the world?
Dandelion too, it's the same, man. Those weeds in people's yards, they think they want to just cut them down or spray pesticides on them, but they actually hold every vitamin from A to Z you need, actually, and you can live off those things, man.
It wasn't until I was in my mid-20s, quote unquote, trying to be healthy at a Whole Foods, and I realized, I was like, wait, I'm paying for dandelion green? What, like?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I'm paying for a dandelion? Like, this is the thing that I'm supposed to eat? A dandelion green? Like, yeah. It is crazy how just so many things can give value. So from a business perspective, though, you're able to forage key ingredients that cost just a little bit of your time, not as much capital to get what you need. How much, like, if you spend 4 hours foraging, you'll get enough herbs to produce what volume of products, roughly?
4 hours of foraging, man, we'll probably be good for a year, 6 months, at least a year and a half.
Yeah.
Basically,
really?
Because we don't actually use the whole plant per se for the product. We actually infuse oil with the plant to extract the medicine.
And
so you don't need that much of the plant.
It doesn't take that much.
Oh, wow. Oh, so, and this is where I guess you said a master and herbalist. I'm sorry. How did you frame it? The certificate or the education you got?
It says master herbalist. I guess that's an old term, man. I'm pretty much just an herbalist. Yeah.
and is that herbalist background how you learn to extract at what proportions and like do all that in a way where you know for sure like you're gonna get that medicinal value out of it because you know what this plant yields and what that plant yields, etc.
Before 2018, I was just going off of a whim, but it wasn't up until I went to school that I actually learned the formulations, actually how to formulate and put the science behind it to get the exact type of medicine that you need for your body.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, the soap was the OG product. Just talk to me a little bit about how y'all have expanded the products from the soap to the body butters. Like what was next after the soap?
Well, Devine was doing teas before we met, actually. So if you want to talk a little bit about that too.
Well, we expanded after the soap. That was just like the most exciting production to take part in after he introduced me to the whole business plan. So once I started making soap, I was super excited. And then the concept of having a line of these products to complement each other came about. So you have the body butter that's made out of shea butter, and we hand whip it 3 times to get it really fluffy and really put that care into the production. And salve that will also substitute as ointment. So you have your healing ointment or for chapped lips. So everything has its proper place in the scheme of taking care of your skin. So you not only have your soap, you have your body butter, cream, and then you have a salve. And then also you have an essential oil blend that was introduced as well for the aromatherapy purpose to hit pressure points on your body that can activate those sensors and heating points that your body heats up quickly at. So the essential oil blend also. Tinctures are being introduced because I've studied herbalism for a long time. I don't have a degree or a certificate. I pretty much learned from the land and people and old white witches because when I was like in my early 20s, I did a retreat where I was offered a scholarship to go learn about herbalism in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah,
and
it was I love Asheville.
Asheville is dope. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I was able to go there and camp, and I was also doing a work study. So I not only was there participating, but I worked alongside with a lot of women, and most of them were like old white women that was teaching about the history of plant medicine and herbalism.
That's big in Asheville.
Really. So that was kind of like my background, introducing and blending and knowing what tinctures is just a form of Like it can be vinegar based, alcohol based, and you only use like a drop or 2 drops underneath the tongue, and it instantly goes into the bloodstream and kind of really fast working throughout the body. I experienced that a lot in Asheville, which it really just drew me into nature and the connectedness that we all have with the land, being original people. I've always said this like a lot, is that we are far removed from the land if we get back to those ways of silencing ourselves and listen to our world around us. It'll open us up to really be creative more, be more happier, be more joyful, be more clear-minded, be more grounded, which we can use a lot more of these people in the world right about now. We don't need a lot of people that's just, like that's really overwhelming and it gives me anxiety. But I get it, sometimes people need to get their energy out. But like it really need at this point for individuals to be thinking clearly, to be having that groundedness, to be a part of the evolution of how the world is going with all of the germs and everything that's surrounding. We have to form this shield of protection and know what combats what and use it proactively, because people want to wait till they get sick and then start like trying to do all these herbal remedies thinking it's just going to work the next day. It don't work like that.
Right.
It don't work like that. You have to keep yourself constantly in that routine, in that regimen of using these things so that they can keep your immune system protected, so you can so you don't get sick as much, because it happens sometimes, but it's a whole 360-degree thing that we bring to the table with this company. Something as simple as like we really was like encouraging everyone to really something as simple as washing your hands, or creating your own hand sanitizer, learning what essential oils is antiviral, antibacterial, and mixing it with a little bit of vodka and there's your hand sanitizer.
And like, so because when it comes to these types of products, you're saying even the topical joints like the soaps and the creams will still help heal on the inside too. Am I hearing that correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
And what that you put onto your body is just as important as what you put into your body. When you use herbal soap, for instance, you shouldn't just wash it on and wash it off so quickly. You should let it stay on for at least 5 to 7 minutes. Let the oils and let the herbs and all the medicine soak into your skin, so that you can really activate that acne, get rid of all the acne, any issues that you may have actually. So
very interesting. Yeah, the average was on and off.
Yeah.
But to really do it right, you should like let it rest for a little bit before you rinse off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, both of y'all skin is glowing from my lens. So the product's got to be doing something right here. At least y'all are glowing over there with the skin. So I gotta say, man, something must be working with them products.
Yeah, we actually been fasting for the last 3 days, man. So we actually just broke the fast today to be on the podcast. We wanted to make sure we had enough energy. Actually, I hope we got enough energy up here today, because we wanted to make sure it was good. Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you.
The Natural Guys Company currently, if someone were interested that was not in Germany, can they get access to these products?
Definitely. We're on our campaign right now, and this is why we're so important that we bring awareness to this campaign, because this will allow us to ship back to the U.S. once the campaign is over. And what really it fuels us, our company, is that one of the things is our U.S. customer base. When we first started selling during the pandemic, and we had so many people supporting us, and then it expanded it started in North Carolina, obviously, but then it expanded to other states. We do have customers that are looking forward to our return. If anyone is like in tune or interested in that is watching from the States, you can go to our website and see what we have available during our campaign, which we do have some packages available.
Okay. And this campaign is can we just kind of maybe talk about some of these packages? Do you mind?
Yeah, sure.
Basically, it's a crowdfunding campaign that we're running, and some of the perks that you guys can get is you can, of course, get our soap. You can also get a wellness package. We have wellness packages available, which involves life coaching, health and wellness, holistic plans, ear candling, teas, or like a variety of teas, and of course some hygiene products. What else do we have? We
How
also
to make
have
an ebook.
Yes, we also have a workbook on how to make your own soap. So if you're interested in that as well, it's a step-by-step guide that can take you from A to Z on how to make your own herbal soaps the same way that we do.
Then we
If you
have
would
one of
also
our.
like,
I'm sorry. One of our perks. I don't mean to talk over you, babe. I'm gonna
go ahead.
explain the other perks. So we have a silver patron, the gold, and platinum. So if anyone wants to just like be a donor, we experience a lot of people, and sometimes people just want to give and they don't want anything. They don't want to sow, and they just want to give. So on also a part of the perk page or the rewards page is where you can just give and be like an honorary person sponsor on our page, where if you just want to give 100 to be a silver patron, then your logo, your company, your name will like go on our website as like one of our happy supporters, because we have a page just for happy supporters, people who just want to give. In addition to the soap, we will be rolling out more perks as the campaign go along. So we're creating some like amazing crafted teas from goldenrod to calendula, different herbs that grow in our community that we forage. We're going to be creating tea blends for them. And those are going to be like adding on to the rewards as the campaign go along. So yeah, like if you ever was interested in learning how to make soap, and it's very super easy, we have a guidebook that you can follow on our perks page.
Word. I want to make sure we have the links available for people to access everything that you're talking about. The Natural Guys Company, I love a couple of things about it. Obviously, with the podcast, focusing on those 5 F's: family, friends, finances, freedom, and future. The family element of just 2 loved ones working together to build a business, I think is already special enough. And the fact that you still like each other throughout this whole process, kudos to y'all.
There's no doubt, man.
That in itself is an achievement. And the fact that y'all are doing this as expats, transplants, what would we call that? When we say expats?
Expats.
Expats. Yeah, expats is the wave. So as expats in Germany, any desire to come back to the U.S. in the future, do you think?
To visit, yes.
To visit.
To live,
okay.
No, but to visit.
To visit. We'll visit. We want to visit next year.
And do you foresee maybe anywhere other than Germany that you might call home?
Yes.
Of course, yeah.
I can't really put a pin on it though. But yeah, for sure. Germany
anywhere hot and melanated with some sun and some beautiful black people, man, we're gonna be there, man.
Yeah, because hot and melanated don't sound like Germany.
It's not. That's why Germany is like
it's not.
Only when there's like festivals. You got like an African festival and everybody, you see mostly melanated folks. And then they have lots of communities out here as well. But we're in a whole nother different space in time in our life. And we've never really went with the status quo of anything, mostly. But now when we here in Germany, we embrace it. He's been here long before me. I know I have family, great uncles who was in the military that was stationed out here. I have ancestors that walk this land. I actually have a relative that live out here as well that was military affiliate as well. I'm just kind of walking in my purpose, but I'm purposefully poised and positioned here at this time, which I never would have thought. So I'm happy that it's just an amazing experience that I get to tell my children one day, that I get to have that, and they're more than likely going to be born here. So they get to experience that life of world school and being able to move again and not being in the States and having this elementary, Head Start, elementary, middle school, high school, college, this whole American programming that we had growing up. And they get to be open into a whole new different world, and it all works out in the end, and it plays out very well.
I'm very, very grateful for not just having you both join on this episode, but just the fact that both of you were so open and honest about the background, the story, which led you to where you are today. And I can't wait to see what's to come, because it's even with all the work you've put in to lay the foundation, it still seems like we're at the beginnings of something you're just getting started with here. So
Definitely.
very, very, and I want to continue to link in with y'all, because this information about natural herbs and how they can help us as it relates to our everyday ailments and things like that, this is something that we are definitely undereducated on. I'm going to circle back with y'all just to have an episode going down that wormhole. I would love to really talk about some of that in more detail, what some of these herbs are, how we can use them, what we should be thinking about using them for, and help spread some of the good work that y'all are doing even further, because I do think that is something that we need more of in our community. So wishing y'all all the best. But before we wrap up and get out of here, living in Germany, do you speak German? And if you don't, like, I lived in Amsterdam for 2 years, one of the best places to live if you don't speak another language as an English speaker, right? Like, you can really do everything in Amsterdam and not speak any Dutch.
Yeah.
How is it being in German? Do you know any, and how is it if you don't know the language?
I speak German. I understand it more than I can speak, but that's because I don't practice much, man. Everybody want to speak English with me when I try to speak it. But definitely in Berlin, it's very international, man. So you can definitely get away with speaking English like nothing, man. And everybody, for the most part, will definitely understand you and help you out or speak back English. For the rest of Germany, I can't say. In Mannheim, after the soldiers left, wasn't much English there. So they went back to the German regular tone and everything and language. So you want to talk about how
I'm
you
at ground zero in German. Listen, I was a French studier in high school, and Spanish, I can flow, but German, my God, that's a whole
it's
nother
different.
It's different.
However, I do have personal goals. I've researched and studied. It's on the list to go to German school. It's on my list. I mean, I definitely want to achieve a nice level of German, because I hold myself up to a standard that I will definitely it'll be something for me to do as a personal goal. I'm not trying to climb the German ladder. If I want trying to climb the American ladder, I'm not climbing the German ladder. Look.
And the hierarchies, like the structures aren't that. Once you get up to that level, at least in my experience, you start to realize, like, okay, they might do a little bit stuff different, but once you get to the higher ups, it don't look much different from America to exactly.
There you go.
There's an elite class of people, period, that are pulling the strings.
Of course, and I don't need to be in no horse race with anybody at all to say that I fit in, or that I can be like you, or try to beg for it and see that anybody's table, because I spent a lot of years, me and Benjamin both, we built this table. It can fold up, it's long, we can do whatever, we can take it wherever we need to go. Just like these memes, look, I gotta go. If it ain't working, don't waste. We're not gonna be able to. We don't need time wasted. So we came here with an open heart, pure intentions. His son is here. Berlin is dope because it's English speaking, so it's not like German is like needed, but you do get frustrated with things and just everyday living. So which is why I made it a personal goal to take it, but. Child, pray for me, because
it's tough.
We'll say, man, if you ever in Germany, or you and your wife or family ever want to come through, man, Berlin per se, please, we'll be more than welcome to have you guys, man.
Yo, no, hey, look, my wife actually did a semester in Berlin when she was in grad school, so she's been to Berlin. When we lived in Germany, or when we lived in Amsterdam, we never went to Germany. So I've yet to go, but it is on my list of places to visit. So it is nice to know that when that time comes, have some people to catch up with in person. So I'm definitely gonna keep that noted.
And we definitely want to thank you also for this platform. I know this, like, going all the way back, circling around, like when I saw clips of you interviewing people, and I just knew it fits you. It really does. It really opens this lane for you, man. And I'm really happy that you were able to have us on here.
Appreciate that. I do appreciate that. My last question before I give you the floor is, like, Benjamin, whatever you've been smelling, like, I don't know what it is, but there's this thing that you keep bringing up to your nose throughout the episode. and I gotta just know, what is it and why are you smelling it? What is the value you're getting from this thing that you keep bringing up to your nose?
Man, my lovely wife know how nervous I am before these things, man. So she strategically placed lavender oil right by my desk, man. So I smell it to keep me calm, headed and grounded, bring me back to reality, because my mind be wandering all over the place. So I hit this lovely herb right here, man. It kind of brings me back to a grounded space, calmness, you know.
Out.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. So even that, like, I don't think I really grasp the point of natural oils all the way. Like, if you don't have a burner or something, or like I see people put it in the bath water or stuff like that. But I don't think like what you just did or what you've been doing is my first time witnessing that sort of use for it. Now I'm thinking like, oh, okay, I could just line up my whole office with all types of joints that for especially, well, make sure I had those just within arm's reach in case I just need a quick inhale. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It works, man. It really works. Yeah.
We're going to have to circle back and learn more about these oils and the benefits that we can get. Any last words that both of you would like to share with the audience before we close out?
Hey, listen, I'm glad that this isn't my first rodeo with really being transparent. This is really just a moment of time of reflection and gratitude. We could have went in so many different angles about who we are and what we represent. But for the most part, as you can see, we're just two pure, amazing, tooting our own horns couple. And man, I love Benjamin like a million times infinitely. It's just a amazing vibe. I really am thankful to be experiencing this business, this marriage, this life with him, and now finally being able to like share and really come out after these few years now that we have left the U.S. and update everybody on kind of like what's going on, man. So I hope everyone had a good time listening.
Awesome. What about you, Benjamin? Any last words?
I'm definitely grateful for being here and for you having us on today, man. I'm very, very much grateful. And I would just like to encourage everyone out there, if you're going through anything, whatever you're doing, just stay prayed up, if that's what you want to call it. Stay, keep your armor on, if that's what you want to call it, your spiritual armor, and just stay in the game, stay in the fight, stay positive. Definitely thank you. Thank you.
No doubt. This is the G podcast where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and everything else. Greatly appreciate the Natural Guys Company for joining. We are out. Make sure you subscribe to join us again for the next episode. Shout out to Old Hillside while we at it. Yes, sir.